Welcome to the Ripple Effect Martial Arts Podcast.
Hello, everybody. It's Master Rachael Macy here, and with me is Ms. Sophia Latino. Welcome, Ms. Latino.
Hi, Master Macy. Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining me. So, really quick, I'm gonna give a really quick introduction, and then I'll let Ms. Latino kind of introduce herself a little bit more. So, Ms. Latino taught with us in the Middleburg location several years ago. She is an incredible martial artist. She already had a second degree in Taekwondo, right? And then earned your second degree in Tang Soo Do. Incredible instructor, incredible martial artist. We loved having her on the team. And she had an opportunity to go to Italy with her family. So right now we're on very different time zones. It's morning for me, it's afternoon for her. And apparently in Italy, they have not done daylight savings time yet. So we're on even weirder time differences. But we are here today because Ms. Latino is going to be joining our Fort Collins location as the head instructor, which we are super excited about. As soon as she told me that she was moving back to the States, I was like, oh, where do you want to go? Can you come teach at any of the schools? We'd love to have you. So I am very excited for our students and our families to get an opportunity to learn from her and to work with her. So excited, so excited. So as most of you guys know, Mr. Tristan Matthew is our head instructor in Fort Collins right now, and he is getting ready to graduate high school. He will be with us all throughout the summer before he goes off to school. So everyone will get to work with him and Miss Latino for a while. But Miss Latino will be heading out to Colorado May 1st. So I cannot wait. We're super excited to have you there. All right, I know that was a brief overview of a long history in martial arts and kind of what brought you to Ripple Effect. But why don't we start with that, Miss Latino? Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your background? Anything I might have left out?
You covered pretty much like a lot of it. Like that's like right now, like the beginning of my story. Like that was like the middle of it. That's when I like really had the opportunity with the background in Tang Soo Do to dive really into that traditional aspect of Korean martial arts, which I was super grateful for with that time with you guys. That was some of the best times in my life when I really discovered what the martial arts world really had to offer. I did, like you said, I spent several years, 6 years, from the age that I was 10 till I was 16, training in Taekwondo in Florida. And I had a lot of fun with that. And I just had this craving to kind of go out, try new things, explore different options. And I had the opportunity of meeting your mom, Master Lapin, and she is just an incredible woman. And I am really, I still talk to her to this day. I really love her. And I got to meet her and I was like, this is great. This is awesome. This is totally something that I want to do long term. And then we got the orders to move to Italy and I was like, oh, dang it. So that was really tough. Like that move was one of the hardest things that I had to do, only because like I was in a time in my life where I was kind of settling down and I was like, oh, this is nice and this is comfortable and this is something that I'm familiar with. And I did not know at the time how much I needed to be pushed out of my comfort zone in order to become the person that I am today. And looking back on the last several years of being here, that just the growth is exponential. And one thing that I always like is like you want to like take each year and not be the same person that you were the year before. And I can tell you that that's happened every single year. They've all come in different flavors, very Sicilian flavors, different varieties, because that's where I am right now. And just have the opportunity to grow and experience a lot while I've been here. I have not discontinued my martial arts journey in any sense of the word. I am currently doing Japanese Jiu-Jitsu. So I've had a very good concrete background in that. The instructors are incredible. The martial arts is some of the best I have ever seen. They are absolutely incredible and very inspiring. I've learned a lot from that, from just being there and being in a different environment. I did not speak the language at all when I first came here. Learning the language of that, learning, and then from that actually learning a lot of Japanese as well has been like another huge learning curve. So that was really fun. And if it's as a side note, I have some friends who have done Japanese Jiu-Jitsu in the States. And so we'll be talking about the same thing, but I say the Japanese words with an Italian accent. So it's something really kind of,
I love it.
it's kind of funny, like just one of those things is like, oh, yeah, I know what that is, but we say it this way. So anyways, I'm going to be wrapping up that journey here, as Master Macy said. But before I do go back, there is the potential for me to test for my first degree in this martial art this upcoming April. So that is super close. And hopefully by the time I get to there, I will have that opportunity. But even if not, I will still have had some incredible experiences, and I'm really grateful either way. It would be cool to get it, but the way that they're testing, they're super strict and everything like that. So they're trying to see if what sort of leeway they have within their organization in order for me to do that. And so we'll see. I'm totally leaving that up to them. And regardless of the outcome, I'm really, really happy to have had the time that I've had here. Really, really great.
And you said, sorry, you said it was Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu?
Japanese Jiu-Jitsu.
Japanese Jiu-Jitsu, amazing. Okay, I love it. So this is one thing that I'm very excited for you to bring to our students. And one thing that's always hard when a new head instructor comes into a school, it can be hard for the senior belts that are there, for the first, the second, the third degrees who are training in the school, to see someone newer come in and they're just now learning the curriculum and how, not many, especially as a senior black belt, but some of the younger ones, they get this natural instinct of what do they have that they can teach me. And I think it's very, very cool because you have a very strong Taekwondo background already. And then you also have a Tang Soo Do background and now a Japanese Jiu-Jitsu background. So, that's one of the humility pieces of being a black belt is you learn from everybody every day. I was teaching prep cycle and working with and there was something I learned from my 10-year-old daughter who's a conditional black belt that day. So there's always new things that we can learn from everybody. And having that open mind is huge. But I also know that you have a very high martial arts skill level to bring to the team. I also know, side note, and this is one of the things I was so excited about. You and I have talked before about like when we first discussed you moving into this role, we talked a lot about how you have done some life coaching and you've done some mentoring and things like that. And that was a big part, I think, when you were in the Middleburg school of what really drew you to our school, our organization, and what we're doing is that it is more than just the physical martial arts training. So why don't you tell a little bit about your passions there?
That is a really good comment, a really noteworthy comment, because you're absolutely right. That did really strike a very big interest when I was first talking with your mom. I think that martial arts is there's a word for it, because I've taught, and it's going to come to me maybe as I explain it, but I've taught in traditional schools as well, like brick and mortar schools. I had the opportunity to come into the American school on the American base here because my family's deployed in the military. And I had the opportunity to teach here, and there is no establishment of the tenets, and there's no establishment of the courtesy and the growth, that the inherent growth that comes from going through something difficult. A lot of times when I talk to these students, it's this is so hard and I'm just going to give up on it. in a nutshell, right? Obviously there's a lot more conversations that go, but like in a nutshell, these a lot of the students that I talk to that don't have any martial arts background, they don't have this capacity to go towards something higher than themselves. And so when you look at that in the context of a martial arts background, there is absolutely that aspect of you're surrounding yourselves with a community that does believe in growing each other, and incorporating that specific aspect is something that I think is very unique about ripple effect martial arts. And there's the community, there's almost that with the tenets of courtesy and perseverance and integrity, modesty, like all of these things are ingrained into the students. And so they provide a foundation and an expectation for how the students treat the instructors and the instructors treat the students, and then how everybody relates to everybody else that works in the studio, how they relate to their parents, and then it has a ripple effect into how they talk to their future employers, to their teachers, everything like that. You can typically tell when students have martial arts backgrounds only because they have that awareness, that respect, that capacity for respect, the capacity to enter into a conversation with others, with that sort of confidence that comes from having that ability to defend yourself, having that community that is going to back you up and cheer you on regardless of the things that might come your way. So I don't know if there's like a word to kind of summarize that, but when it comes to that mindset building, the goal setting and things like that, that's the background that I came from. That's the background that my mom comes from. And so I was particularly passionate about that aspect when Master Lappin introduced this concept of really solidifying it, because the tenets had been a part of my Taekwondo journey. It's very traditional, very old school martial art or Taekwondo background, but actually putting it in action, very practical. It just becomes a very practical way for you to practice your tenets, to practice what you've learned on the mats, and then to take it off of it. The transfer becomes much simpler, especially when you have a foundation like martial arts to back it up. So that's what I really liked about it.
Good. So I think also all of the families are going to see it so quickly. You have such an incredible passion for martial arts, and you see it as soon as you're on the floor, whether you're training or whether you're teaching, everybody feels your passion for martial arts. You have equally as strong of a passion for your students and their individual growth. And that is what I am so excited about, because I know you are going to make such a difference in so many lives. And that's why we all do what we do. It's such an incredible opportunity that we have to get to work with our students. What is one thing, what would you say is maybe the biggest thing that martial arts has taught you? I think everyone kind of has a few, in their pocket that they're like, you know what, my confidence or my ability to focus, or I was talking to an instructor recently and they're like, you know what, I have really severe ADHD. And when I was a kid versus who I am now, you would never believe it. But I had a hard time focusing and functioning, and martial arts has really helped me with that. So what would you say is the biggest thing, biggest skill you've learned from martial arts off of the mats?
That's a really good question. The first thing that popped into my head when you said that was integrity. I hold myself, my students, and everybody around me to a very high standard of integrity. That's something that it's one of the first ones that you learn in Taekwondo, at least in the school that I was a part of previously. And the integrity that you have, I have very, very concrete memories of my instructor having us do push-ups. He's down, what is integrity? And then we push up. Integrity is doing the right thing when no one's watching. Down, what is integrity? And doing it and just doing it like that. We were all doing it together. And so that, like, doing the right thing when nobody's watching is like a huge thing for me. And so I think that when somebody practices integrity, it's very apparent. And obviously nobody's perfect. I'm not claiming to have the most perfect integrity in the world, but I will say that my passion for doing the right thing, even when nobody's watching, doing it simply for the sake of knowing that it's correct, in whatever capacity, is very important. So, for example, just doing your work, like doing your schoolwork when you're supposed to, or doing your chores when you're supposed to. It doesn't have to be something super deep, like going out and changing the world. You start with making your bed. You start with doing those little things, and those little things, again, I'm just going to be super corny, ripple effect into larger changes throughout your life. And I think that integrity would definitely be the main thing that really draws me to others. And like, oh wow, this person just does what they're supposed to, and they do it because they're passionate about it. And I think that that's one of the biggest things that really shows up in my life off the mats.
Love that. And that's very true. And integrity is definitely one great word to describe you. I think one thing about being an instructor, and you see instructors sometimes, I don't think we have any, but you see instructors sometimes who say one thing and do a different thing, right? And I think that this is something that Master Macy and I are very passionate about, and that you truly embody is that level of integrity as a black belt. Like, you are a martial artist through and through. And whatever you tell your students, whatever you ask them to do, whatever you're teaching them to do, you are truly being a role model, even when no one's watching, and really embody that integrity. So I think that's a good one. What are you, and this is a big change. So Ms. Latino mentioned she was in Florida. We talked about she was in Middleburg. This is gonna be your first time. This is your first time ever visiting Colorado, right? So
This is my first time being anywhere west of Tennessee.
Yeah, oh my gosh, this is a big change. What are you looking forward to most about this new adventure for you?
Unserious answer first, seeing a tumbleweed for the first time. I did not know that they existed. I thought that they
We'll
were
get over that pretty quick, but
I thought that they were like a cartoon, like fiction thing that you saw in like Wile E. Coyote or whatever. I was like, this is no, there's no way those are real. But I honestly have no idea what it's going to be like to be back in the States. It's been 2 years since I've been in America. So I I don't really know what to expect in terms of like what it's going to be really like to be back in America. I know that I have very high standards and expectations for all of my future students and all of my future coworkers when it comes to teaching martial arts and embodying that integrity, both on and off the mats. But as far as how did you say it? Like the what I'm expecting coming back to the States, particularly in Colorado.
yeah,
Yeah.
just what are you most excited about? And it sounds like just something new. It's
Yeah.
very new, and it sounds like a very big adventure for you.
There was a speaker I was listening to one time, and she was talking about taking really big leaps and really big like risks, and she didn't want to be, her words were risk averse. She didn't want to be risk averse. And I knew going back to Florida, it would have been a great position, and I would have been working with absolutely incredible people. But it would have been very comfortable. And so maybe the thing that I'm craving the most would be to push myself outside of my comfort zone and to really try something new environmentally, but also within my own work. To really try and push myself to become even better than I was before in all aspects of my life, not just my martial arts, but my emotional, my physical, my spiritual life, all of these things, my emotional life, all of these things kind of coming together to for whatever other journeys that are in store for me. I think not becoming too risk adverse would be the thing that I'm looking forward to the most in whatever sort of capacity that comes across for me.
I love it. And I think that again circles back to that piece of integrity, right? We tell our students that all the time. Like, as soon as you see a parent sitting on the sideline and their kids in the class, we're like, get on the floor. And it's intimidating, it's scary, and we're like, don't be scared. I say all the time, and you just kind of embodied that quote, but get comfortable being uncomfortable. And I say that to our students, I say that to our team, I say that to my kids. It's so important to if you get so super in your comfort zone and you never push yourself out of there, you never, first of all, you're never going to grow. You're never going to be able to learn new things. You never know. You might find your passion in one of those explorations, right? That was kind of what happened with you coming to Middleburg. So I love that. I think that brings me kind of to, you mentioned this, and it made me think of one last question for us to end on. And that was, when did you know that you wanted a career in teaching martial arts, that you wanted to do this? Was there maybe a defining moment for you or an experience or anything that kind of led you to that decision?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I remember, so growing up and doing Taekwondo, I actually I had no reason, by the way, to choose doing martial arts. I had no actual reason, good reason to choose doing it. And the reason I say that is because at the time when I was 10, I was also doing a Girl Scouts community thing. And all of my friends were there. They were all doing it and all these things. My Taekwondo met on Mondays and Thursdays, and they were meeting on Mondays, and my parents were like, you got to choose both. And I think that a lot of people, for whatever reason, they would have chosen to be with their friends. That would have made more sense. But just prefacing this, like there was a specific moment, but like I don't know why I chose martial arts. It spoke to me in a way that nothing has spoken to me since. And so like, this was at 10 years old. I remember sitting on my bed being like, I don't know why, but I want to do martial arts. And I've never made that good of a decision since. So that was a defining moment for me, just in that choice to continue, because my parents gave me and it was, they were like, you can choose whichever one you want and it's going to be great. That has given me more friends, a career. It has given me a sense of purpose and stability in my life, more than Girl Scouts did, or maybe Girl Scouts would have. And that just ended up working for me. And then I remember when I was 12, I remember telling my instructor at the time, I want to be a teacher. And I knew it. I just knew that I wanted to be one. And I saw the way that she taught the class, again, very old school, very tough on her students. But it was a tough love. It was an encouraging love from both of my instructors. And I really loved that, because I knew this is the key. I knew that whatever I earned from them was earned and it was not given. And that is something that's very important, because that ties in again to that integrity. They had integrity with me because they never gave me anything. I earned it. And so all of those pieces kind of tied in together, like cumulatively, I will say, like 12 years old, that definitely was it for me. And I started teaching like very, very early on. They were really good about getting their students to be like, pretty on the dot, with like leading class warm-ups and things. That's something that I would love to see students actually. Like I would love to start, right around that halfway mark, just giving them maybe a little bit of freedom and a little bit of leeway in actually being able to show off their skills a little bit and get more comfortable speaking to people in public speaking. I remember I was so terrified the first time that I led a class warm up. Since then, I've also done it in Italian. So like just being here, like I've had the capacity to do it all over the place in all sorts of different places in the world. So there's all these aspects that kind of play into it, that like I said, the 12 years old part, and just having the opportunity to just continue to rinse and repeat those skills, just provided me with all sorts of opportunities. And so I wouldn't be here without that choice. Like I said, haven't made as good of one since.
Well, I am super grateful for that decision, and I feel bad for the Girl Scouts organization, because I'm sure they would have loved having you too. And you know what? Girl Scouts is another organization, just like Cub Scouts and things like that just they teach the values in it, but it's different. But
that's anyway, a very good point. That's a very good point.
I'm very, very glad you made that decision and chose martial arts. And I am just so excited. I'm so excited to see you in Colorado very, very soon. For those of you guys, if you listen to this before then, Ms Latino will be out in Colorado the week of March 22nd. Is that right?
Yes, I believe I fly out here on the 22nd and I get there on the 23rd.
I love it. So she'll be out there for that week. And then you guys will see a whole lot of her in Fort Collins beginning in May. Thank you again so much, Ms Latino. I hope you have a wonderful day. And we'll see you very soon.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm excited. Ciao.
Thank you for listening to the Ripple Effect Martial Arts Podcast. Find podcasts and more at rippleeffectmartialarts.com.